All right. Good morning. A beautiful welcome to Women's Corner with Mira's Blossom. It's exciting to be here. Of course, we are close to, the end of the month, the end of the year, and I'm excited to always be here. Remember, this program runs from 11 a.m. to 12 noon every Monday through Friday. And of course, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. Just type in Galaxy TV, and of course, you have to watch all of our live programs. And also, don't forget, we have our YouTube channels. We have Galaxy TV, we have Galaxy TV Comedy, Galaxy TV Entertainment, and of course, we have Galaxy TV News. You all welcome again. Today, we'll be talking about the impact of a mother, the role a mother should play in a child's life. Of course, I have an amazing guest. She's an in-house. And of course, before, I unveil my guest as usual, we'll go for a short break. And right after the short break, we'll be here to discuss. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. In the house, we have Patricia Gabriel. She's a journalist. Of course, she's an entrepreneur. She's a woman advocate. And of course, she's a mother. She asked me to add that one, so I must add it. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
It's good to have you. So first things first, when we were discussing behind the scene earlier, we talked about the difference between the Gen Z mothers, the millennial mothers, and our mothers' mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the huge difference you've seen that most parents have played in the role of play their role as a child, for their children rather, that has changed over time till now?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. A lot has changed over time. Even from my own time, my mother would tell me, you mothers have really, really changed. That's my time. Not to talk of the Gen Z time, So a lot has changed over time, In my time, when I see the Gen Z mothers now, I begin to wonder, what are you really passing to your children? Because I thought I did best, even though my mother kept telling me that you are not doing what you're supposed to do as a mother. But I know that in my time, you did the best than the Gen Z time now. So, a lot has really, really gone down the drain. The Gen Z mothers now, you see it flying around. I remember one of the Gen Z's mom was doing photo shoot for the daughter on Instagram. I don't know if you remember that video flying. I think they had to take the child from her or something, And I also have seen when a father was giving the daughter beer. To 2-year-old child or 3-year-old child and say, take the beer, They believe that that's a way to show that, I'm a Gen Z father, I'm a Gen Z mom, I'm doing the right thing. But truly, they're not doing the right thing. That's all.
So what is the most important thing that you think most Gen Zs should try and pass on to their children that you think they are missing? Because if they keep missing that thing, what else do you think their own children will be able to do when they become mothers?
It's very scary. True. From what we see that the Gen Z's moms are doing now, not all of them anyway, we still have about 5% from the 100% of the Gen Z that are doing the right thing. And my friends and I were talking about it, and we analyzed it that, okay, these 5% are in between. They are, on our side and then on the Gen Z side. That Gen Z age, don't get it wrong. But I think they want to be on the part of their mom, their real mom. They want to understand how their mom had done all that and, still, you're still the mom. But the Gen Z's moms now, like I was telling you behind the stage, I have a friend whose daughter is a Gen Z mom. So she has a daughter celebrating her birthday yesterday, 7-year-old girl. And then she posted how they celebrated for her, the gifts. And I was amazed, like, oh yeah, this is what I did in my time. You buy a teddy bear, you buy, different kinds of gifts to surprise the child when she comes back from school. But this case, there was an iPhone 13 in it.
Wow.
So I began to ask, what does that a 7-year-old girl meet an iPhone 13?
Even a phone.
She's going to be exposed to so many things out
Mm.
there at the age of seven. And then as she's growing up, by the time she gets to 18 and gets to the university and there's no mom or dad to buy her the phone, she's going to do every other thing to see that she keeps upgrading this iPhone. I don't even know. I don't understand this iPhone thing. Why are we upgrading every time they come? So now she's going to do everything to upgrade to the latest iPhone because the mom had started it with her. And the mom, on her own part, thought that, okay, she's doing the right thing. She's showing to the world that she can afford a phone for her daughter. And then the schools they go to too, there's so much competition. You go to these private schools, you begin to hear the little children, oh, I went on vacation with my mom and my dad, and I got this and I got that. We didn't get that opportunity. Even if we went for vacations, most times it was education. I remember I went to Command Secondary School, and so my father was a military man, so he didn't play with all that. Yes, I went for vacation, but it was excursion for academic purposes.
Yeah.
Not just to go and expose my body and go to the beach. It was excursion for academic purposes. So with such excursions, I learned a lot. And then I did that for my children too, because these are things my mom and my dad had passed to me. And so my mom also taught us that, she used to tell us this. She said, look, in our own time, every mother is a mother to every child around you. So your neighbors, your friends can bring your children and live with you. But that can't happen now.
No, not at all.
It can't, because you don't even know the training that other child had gotten. Because we've heard stories where people go drop their children and the parents come in and find that they're watching pornography and all that. So I don't know, it's scary. It's
very scary. Totally. When you were even talking about vacation, aside from the excursion that you talked about, the highest vacation we've had to get is the one you go to visit maybe your mom's sister or your dad's, brother or sister. True. It's always a family.
Yes,
so it's not like you're going outside of that, because they still want you to be educated. They still want you to be groomed. They still need people that are able to watch you when you're misbehaving. So I think that is what it is.
It's a big problem, because we're teaching the children the negative parts of living life. That's the truth. Because I also have a friend whose last child happened to fall into the Gen Z age. My last child too is a Gen Z. In fact, my first child too is a Gen Z age, but she doesn't behave like that anyways. So my friend told me the son said he wasn't going to go to school in Nigeria. Because of what he was saying, what his friends are saying. Oh, I'm going to school in Canada, I want to go to school in America. And then so he decided that he was not going to go to university in Nigeria. This is 2 years down the road that he left secondary school. He's still not in school. And the mom says there's no money to send him abroad now.
Can you imagine?
I don't know where we're going to. It's very scary.
Okay, there's another thing I really want to know, so that all the Gen Zs can actually understand where we are coming from. What are the key values your parents, our parents, instilled into us that made us be better, that we're able to give our best to our own kids? What are those values? So maybe they would understand where we are coming from.
The first one I'm going to talk about is being contented. You just be contented with wherever you are at any point. You're not in a competition with anybody. Be contented wherever you find yourself. Let your children know. I tell people this. Don't pretend to your children that you have it. Open up to them. This is how it is. If you have, fine. Be part of it. If you don't have, let them know. For now, I do not have it. At every point in time, carry them along. Let them understand that, okay, mommy, daddy doesn't have it for now, especially the economy right now. The economy it's crazy. Let's just be factual about it. It's crazy. So you let your child know that because of the economy, it's worldwide anyway. The economic thing is worldwide. And so you plan, and you let your child know when you're planning that, oh, okay, we're going to do this at this time. And then we'll see how it goes. If it comes, we, take it further. If you have to change your child's school because of money, you do it. You don't look at the child. The child does not dictate for you. You dictate for the child and say, this is what
What
I
is
can
happening
afford
now?
right
Yeah.
now. And so you let her know, or you let the child know that this is what I can afford now. This is the school I can afford now. So you have to attend that school, you know. Don't pretend about it. Don't lie about it. Don't, because your neighbors are sending their children abroad, you want to do same thing. And you're going to destroy the life of that child, really, because the child will be looking up to, okay, let me do this a little. Okay, so I also have a friend who sends the children to Atlantic Hall for secondary school. You know, he didn't have the money, but he was just pretending. You know, some of us like to live fake life. So he was,
they'll tell you fake it till you make it.
Yes, so he was pretending about that and sent the children to Atlantic Hall. And in Atlantic Hall, everybody living there is going abroad to school. So these children came out and was expecting that they would go abroad to school. It wasn't coming first. They struggled, they cried, everything they did to their father. They didn't want to talk to their father. They stopped greeting him in the same house. Yes. So I came in, and because it happened to be a family, I came in and intervened, and I spoke with them and begged them, okay, you go to the private school. So they went to Babcock. That's where the final ended. But the first son dropped out of school. Yes, there's nothing school to do, because in Atlantic Hall, they have brainwashed them. They have brought in schools from abroad to come and for them to write tests. You have chosen the school you want to go, either in UK, US, Canada, and then at the end of the day, when you go, it's actually going to disrupt any child. You know? So he dropped out. He's 25 now, but he's not in school.
Wow. So I hope we are all learning, especially for the Gen Zs. You know, I know they always say that, like she said, fake it till you make it. But let's be honest. You see this economy we have right now, I don't even think you can actually fake it anymore. You will face the reality of it, and it's going to hit you so bad. You will not even know where to stand or who to turn to. Anyways, let's take a short break. Welcome back. Yes, that's a fabulous one. Thank you so much, Zil, for giving us, some very interesting red carpet moment. Okay, we still have Patricia Gerals in the building, and of course, we're talking about the role a mother should play in her child. So I want to ask, do you think the reasons why Gen Z mothers are this way is because parents did not probably do their job well enough? I mean, the millennial parents didn't do well enough to instill, because I am certain that millennial had the good training. They still had the good training. So is it that millennial parents didn't do the right thing by maybe taking the same training they had and put it into their children, or Gen Z mothers are just like that?
Two answers. Some of the millennial parents didn't do the right thing. And then some of the Gen Z are just like that.
That's the truth. So meaning, even despite them being trained properly, they end up still just becoming, what it is.
Yes, because of they go to school, they mix up with other children. If sometimes you say pastor's child, doing the worst. Are you saying the pastor didn't try?
That's true.
So they go to school, they mix up with other children, and they decide to choose which way to go.
Okay, so because of our time, if you would want to give advice to Gen Z mothers right now so that they can still make it right, I'm certain we can still correct the notion. But you know what we are talking, like, there's a big difference, and maybe that difference, that gap might not be bridged. But if there is a way we can try to bridge that gap, that thing that is making our children or these children feel like they are not well trained, how do you think we can go about this?
Like I said to you behind the scene, it's difficult, really. It's going to be difficult to break it, because it looks like it's the norms. It's the normal thing going around now, So when you're giving your child a different training as a Gen Z mom, your circle of friends begin to laugh at you. And like, waiting. Now you are waiting. They begin to laugh at you, and you begin to feel out of place. But I'm going to use this opportunity to talk to the Gen Z mom out there, and the Gen Z fathers too. Try and do the right thing. Reason why is because you could suffer this at old age. When you don't bring up the child properly, it will fall back to you at old age. So remember how your parents trained you. That's the only advice I can give. I can't sit here now and say, okay,
do this,
do
that.
Don't do that. No. If you got a proper training from your parents, from your mom especially, because usually it's the mothers. You know, when a child is bad, you hear the father say, "Now your mama is and all that." So I just talk to the mothers now, the Gen Z moms. You got a proper training from your mom, from your parents. Transfer that training to your child, or else it will fall back to you at old age.
It's even very scary. You know, thinking about it, if you don't do the right thing now, those children will become mothers, they'll become fathers. What would they teach their children at that point? Because it is only what you have that you can give. You understand? So, anyways, you mentioned something which is very interesting, and I wanted to skip that part before because of our time, but let me include that now. You talked about the men. Now, despite we saying mothers, the man has a role to play too. Now, what role do you think that Gen Z father should play? In fact, saying Gen Z father sounds weird. It sounds weird to me, but I just have to put it that way. What do you think they can do to help also? Because if you leave everything to the mother, it's very difficult, especially when you're not an absentee father and you're there. So what exactly do you think they should do? Like the part where you said, because a child is bad, they will say it looks like the mother. So what should they do at this point to be able to support?
Okay, like you said, mentioning Gen Z's father is scary. It's worse than the mothers. It's worse because the Gen Z fathers go around with tattoos all over the body, and the children are saying that. They go around in the house drinking, they go around in the house smoking, you know, doing all things. And then the children are living with you in the house and they're seeing these things and they want to believe is the right thing to do. You know, so if you can please take these activities outside of your house and go do them. Come back home, pretend to be a good daddy boy.
I think I'm getting right. Okay. All right. We can't take any more questions, but thank you so much, Patricia, for doing justice to this, and hopefully all the Gen Z fathers, all the Gen Z mothers. Let's forget how I think we have tagged the Gen Zs to be, you know, these amazing people. Let me use that word. I still believe that change is a constant thing, and of course we can always get that change. If we want to even effect any change, we have to start from ourselves. It's not by how they put it. They will always say, before you remove the log of wood in someone's eyes, remove that from yours. So you have to start with the change first. Anyways, before we let our guests go, we still have one more report for you. This one was done by Mrs. Olushola, you know, where we had, because of this topic, and it's something that is very interesting. But of course, one day we'll pick that same topic, that report as a topic, and discuss it on this text very, very soon, pretty soon. But let's go watch this report, and we'll be right back to wrap up the show.
Putting children, the babies, the toddlers, at the daycare center has been an issue for working mothers. In the past, grandmas and mature housemaids take care of children. But today, because of the problem associated with maids, especially maltreating the babies and the toddlers, there has been a shift to daycare center and crèche. I will be asking working mothers, how do they feel putting their children at the crèche? Working mothers and childcare. In the past, grandmothers and matured maids are entrusted with the responsibility of taking care of babies and toddlers while the working mothers go to work.
It was a tough one, but you know, there's no how you try to do everything to put the house and work together. There's nothing you do. You would end up not getting it all well. But for me, the first time I took my child to crèche, it wasn't easy for me. My mind was not settled. The fact that it was my first child, and I was scared. But someone introduced me to a crèche. It is a school and also a church. So the church thing gave me a rest of mind. Then I started up with it. But at work, it wasn't easy for me. The work, to balance work, and also I kept calling the crèche to know how my baby was. The response they gave me wasn't what I wanted, but I tried to bottle up my fear so it won't affect my job. I was told my baby kept crying because I just started introducing baby the feeding bottle to him. Then he wasn't collecting the food. So when I got back when I closed and went back to the crèche, I noticed that he had dropped some weight and it was worrisome. So that was my experience.
People with daycare centers and crèche to take care of your babies while you are at work.
Yes, I would say I'm comfortable with it because that was what I used to raise my kids, because I myself and my husband, we agreed based on all the stories of all these nannies, housemaids, not to have an housemaid. So although when I was having my children, then I was working on my own. I had a small office where I was doing some catering activities, but because when my son was 9 months, I have to introduce him to a crèche. So I can say I am comfortable with it, especially with the kind of service I got.
I wanted to start and buttress from the beginning, you know, my own challenge, because everybody, we have specific challenge, you know, okay? So each person have their own specific challenge. So what I wanted to just say is that the most important thing is having an understanding spouse or partner. You know, not every man wants to have their kids in daycare center. So someone like me, I never put my child in daycare center. I always had a nanny who comes in to the house and then takes care of the child. And when the child when he was old enough to start school, so I put him in school, and after school, someone actually goes to pick him up from school and stay with him until I come back from the office. So my husband is somebody that does not believe in putting his child in daycare. So I did not experience daycare. I never put my child in daycare.
So for me, personally, I prefer my wife working from home and alongside taking care of my child. So that is what I prefer. And if that is not the case, if she's not working from home, if she has to be working outside of home, then I would prefer crèche or daycare center.
Daycare centers have been in existence for many years, and children are taken to daycare centers. Leaving babies and toddlers at home with maids or in daycare centers are associated with various challenges. Babies, toddlers are subjected to various maltreatments that sometimes lead to the children's deformity or death. Today, the challenges are still there, but are reduced. Despite working mothers really don't have complete rest of mind while at work. So they check on the babies through phone calls to the daycare centers and the crèche.
Well, I will not say that putting a child in the crèche is always 100%. There's 100% guaranteed safety on the child.
All right, we've come to the end of the show today. That report is not complete. Hopefully tomorrow or next we'll be able to complete that report, because there's a conclusion to every report. Okay, thank you so much, Patricia Gabriels, for being on the show. I hope you enjoyed yourself on the show.
Thank you for having me yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you learned one or two, especially the Gen Z moms and of course the fathers also. Tomorrow is another day where we'll still have Women's Corner and of course giving you the best from Women's Corner. Up